Okay, I don't know how long it's been since we got the Equalizer. Denzel Washington kind of surprised us with that movie, at least he did me, because I mean, when it was announced, I was like, okay, cool, he's joining, you know, Liam Neeson and Stallone and Arnie, and that's cool and all, and Denzel Washington's great, and I can't wait to see that movie. And the movie, I mean, dude, I was satisfied, I loved it. It was a great movie, you know. He's this ex-CIA agent, he's retired, he's far away from that life, and he bumps into this hooker who's actually, you know, a slave pretty much, if I remember correctly. Maybe I'm misremembering something, but whatever. She's basically a hooker, and Russian mafia has her in her grip, and he helps her escape that grip, and he does
killing everybody.
Yeah, exactly.
He's using his unique set of skills that he learned not only in the CIA but in the Navy SEALs or
just
Delta
like Liam Neeson did.
Yeah. But
he has a certain sets of skills.
Exactly.
So.
But Denzel is one of those people who can draw a crowd just by being
He's one of the few, like we talked about Tom Cruise in the last movie, Mission Impossible.
But there's like a couple of people that if you put them in a movie, people are generally gonna go watch the movie just because that person is in it.
Exactly, and Denzel
is one of those people who has that sort of
still has that influence and that draw
on the crowd. And when the the first Equalizer is like came out of nowhere and like, okay, like Hollywood is concentrating on remaking the action movie genre, and you liked what they did with the Equalizer because it was a bit different, even though.
And just watching an old grizzled Denzel Washington, you know, kick somebody is pretty spectacular in its own right, because we don't get to see him do that much anymore. And let's be honest here, I mean, even in all the previous action movies that he was in, like Deja Vu and whatever else, he didn't kick that much ass. No, you know, I mean, physically, like he never used, you know, martial arts and stuff like that. You know, he was always chasing after somebody with a gun. You know, so seeing him actually kick butt for real, even though it was his stunt double, it was pretty spectacular in its own right, because we got to see a Denzel unlike we've ever seen him before, and in his ripe old age of 70 whatever.
And you liked what you saw.
Exactly, it's pretty spectacular to see him do it.
It's pretty sweet thing to see.
And then a few years later, they said they were gonna make a second movie, and for all intents and purposes, I'm gonna refer to Equalizer 2 as Help and Company. Listen, if after watching that movie, that one quote from that movie, it just stuck so much with me, I just couldn't resist myself. But I was wondering, where do they go next? Like, what do they do with his character that we haven't already seen anywhere else? You know, it's like, and for all intents and purposes, we basically get that for like the first half an hour of the movie. Like
they dive deeper into his character. Like you see part of his history and background. You find out that even though parts of it you know from the first one, where his wife died. And he's basically going through the...
But you basically watching for the first half an hour, helping various random people in his neighborhood, you know, or wherever. Just, you know, helping them out of situations
using
that they
his unique set of skills to help strangers.
Yeah. Yeah, and...
Until one of his only ties to the CIA goes to Brussels and is killed.
Yeah.
And they kind of throws him back into the hole. Like he still helps people, but now he has a higher mission, higher purpose to find out who
did this to her, to his only friend,
and basically equalize the situation.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Nice pun, by the way. Dude,
thank you.
If there is somebody out there watching this, and there is actually an award ceremony for people who use the most puns on the YouTube or whatever, please.
So back to the movie.
Yeah, Equalizer 2. Listen, like we talked about this in Mission Impossible. The moment that one character appears on the screen, you know he's the guy. Yeah, you just know it. Like, we've seen that dude a gazillion times before. And
doing various things.
And they're always working for they're always working for the agency. Let's not kid ourselves. I mean, for the company. Always. And they're always, you know, appear to be, you know, unscrupulous, ethical, with integritus, and all of a sudden we discover that they're not so clean.
They're everything but.
Yeah.
So he shows up, and you know he's gonna be the villain. Because, you know, it just makes sense that he's the villain.
Exactly, yeah. And if we spoiled Henry Cavill in Mission Impossible for you now, I really don't care. You should.
The movie's been out for like a
Yeah.
while.
Yeah, exactly.
And you can see he's a villain the moment he shows
Shows
up.
up.
Like,
I mean,
you know,
he's like, he has the face. I mean, for some people, they just have the face.
and they show up on screen, you're like, yeah, he's the villain.
Yeah,
It's like,
yeah. It's like I knew it, and
then it turns out he's a villain like 2 hours later, but it's like, yeah, you got to wait 2 hours. But you knew this.
it paid off though. It paid
You
off. It's a nice exploration of Denzel's character. I mean, his past, what, you know, how he
Thinks
thinks,
what drives him.
him. It's his, you know, yeah, you said
And
drive.
even he's like, even as de facto hitman, he still has his code that he lives by. It's like,
Yeah.
he's gonna give you a chance to repent before he kills you, unless you kill his friend, then he's just gonna kill you.
Yeah, true.
And it's like, and you know, like when he steps into the room, you know he's the baddest ass in the room. And no matter how many guys you throw at him, it's like, it's just not enough. Which is one hole one problem I have with this movie is basically might spoil it a little bit for you, but basically the end fight happens between Denzel and the colleagues that he used to work with when he was in the CIA.
And that didn't surprise me at all either.
No, it didn't surprise me.
When
But yeah,
the guy he was with, yeah,
he
the villain
basically fights with the guys from the team that he was with when he was
that he
in the
commanded
CIA. Yeah.
actually.
And
we also-
my train of thought is like, you spend years on the battlefield, behind the scenes, like moving stuff, killing people, like doing all sorts of, and you know what's it like, and you think that four of you can take him on, even though you spend years with him, and you know when he's pissed, there's no stopping him just because he's that
your
good.
commanding officer.
Yeah, it's like, and you think that four of you are gonna take him down, even though you know you can't take him down.
And they actually
That
betrayed
was-
him too. I mean,
yeah.
that's what gives depth to his character. And this movie as a whole, because they're not just, you know, some regular guys out there doing bad things. They're like people who went through some, you know, heavy shit, literally. And their lives were so miserable afterwards. They had to do something, you know, to keep
they
their
became
families
mercenaries.
safe, you know, to provide for their families. They had to do something. So they turned away from everything that they held dear, like all the
Well, yeah,
ethics, all the beliefs that they had. They turned away from that and justified it by, they justified it, but still, you know, when Denzel came in and saw, he was like, you fools, like you could have lived normal, satisfactory lives, you know, doing stuff for the company or the government or whatever, or as freelancers, but you had to do and literally just be greedy about it and just go like getting more than you should have.
Well, they're good at what they do. So, you know, they got paid.
Of course.
But that's besides the point. It's like,
They could have done it differently, and that's the problem Denzel has with his old team members.
no, not really. The problem that he has is they went after his friend.
That only adds to it, in my
No, he would let her
That's-
go. Like, had they not killed Susan or
Well, of
whatever her name
course,
is,
of
he
course.
wouldn't even be there in this situation.
You think so?
I know so. He'd let him go.
I don't think so, man.
He would. Because at this point, like, the inner workings of Denzel's character is what drives this movie.
Because in the around half of this movie, we learned that like he's basically dead. Like he's off the books. He's
He
living.
faked his death,
Yeah.
which is one of the things that spiraled the whole thing. Basically, his
Out of
former
control.
team
Yeah.
took the jobs as mercenaries after his death. They were kind of trying to find a purpose, blah blah blah. After government disavowed them, just left them loose. And you know, they were like 40-year-olds with no skills other than how to kill, so they kind of make a living out of it. But still,
It makes for a
Denzel
great
has-
movie.
yeah, but Denzel had no
way how
beef
you
with
look
them.
at it. No way how you look at it makes for a great movie.
Denzel
It's
had
a
no beef
noir.
with them
It's
until
not
they
even a
killed
spy
Susan.
movie. It's not even an action movie. It's a noir, and it's like I watched the people with few other people. I watched the movie with few other guys, and one of them was like, I didn't like the movie, and I knew why he didn't like. I said it was noir, right? It was like, it was kind of slow. It would focus too much on character development, not much.
Which is what I like about this movie.
Exactly.
Which is like when you
it gives
look
it
at
balance. It gives it balance because there's a whole part of this movie where his
figure out-
character is actually figuring out, like he's doing the detective work, and just looking at that, how he builds the crime scene, and
doesn't
how he
just,
looks
like,
for clues.
walk in the room and
Yeah.
kill everybody. Like there's structure to what he does. Like,
Exactly.
there's-
That's what this makes the movie great, and I think it's gonna.
like he works
It's
as a
one day
Lyft
it's gonna live up
driver.
as a classic, in my opinion.
Oh, yeah,
Like, it will
he
have
works
to
as
be.
a Lyft driver and he helps a Holocaust survivor reunite with his sister, which is like, you know, he saves a black kid off of a street, gives him like a purpose. That's what drives this movie. Denzel, that's
His
what
character,
Denzel,
yeah.
his character is like.
And that's what
front and
Denzel
center.
actually does in real life too, and like he helps people, but you know, and
Which is, I think, why he works in Equalizer so good, because
Yeah,
that's part of
exactly.
who he is in real life as well.
yeah, he
And then
brought
when
it
you
to the
put that to
yeah.
screen, it just works.
He has to be authentic in a certain way. And it has to,
And he is.
and
He
he
is.
has to catch someone. He has to catch your attention because I don't think otherwise it was just a regular movie. I don't think it would have. I mean, if it was somebody other than Denzel, this movie wouldn't work. I don't think it would.
Not on the same level as it does with Denzel.
So yeah, it's, you know, actors do make great movies and they make movies great at the same time, or sometimes they'll make a movie that's not so great just because they're in it. So yeah. What's your score?
23.
Same. I'll concur.
Yeah,
20,
it's good movie.
23. Yeah, sure. Why not?
The
23 out of
watchability
30.
factor is there. The action is there. Like the just I love this kind of movie.
Yeah.
Plain and simple.
Exactly. Let us know what you think about the movie. What
Or
you
don't.
Yeah. It's your choice. Just be cool about it. With Bash Bros movies.
See you next time.